Member for Otiende.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'm a member of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, and I'm happy to advise members that this bill was spearheaded by a team made up of members of the Judiciary and the Judicial Service Commission, led by the Honorable Supreme Court Judge, Dr. Smoking Wanjala. Madam Speaker, as a committee, we thoroughly examined this bill at various stages, and we robustly debated it no less than 3 times. And I'm happy to tell members that of some of the concerns that I've had some members raise, most of them are already catered for in the proposed amendments that the committee did, and you will find that in chapter 6 of the report of the committee. Madam Speaker, it is important to understand that this bill reflects a best practice regionally and internationally, where entities such as the Judiciary and the Judicial Service Commission now find it necessary to focus on continuous legal education. Madam Speaker, it is important to understand that as lawyers, we are all trained under the same curriculum. But depending on which branch of law you want to focus on, you therefore must get some additional training. If you are a prosecutor, you will now focus on prosecution. If you are a parliamentary counsel, you focus on parliamentary matters. And therefore, judges and magistrates, no less, must be accorded an opportunity to refocus their training to judicial work. And that is what this bill seeks to do. It does not only seek to focus on judges, it seeks to focus on tribunals. We have no less than 36 tribunals that are now established under various statutes. And every time we appoint a chair or members of a tribunal, they must be trained. This bill allows the judges to focus on the unique election laws, both by statute and by practice. And as you know, Madam Speaker, whenever we come to election, as we are coming to next year, there will be very many petitions, and the judges must get an opportunity to be refocused on this matter. This bill allows not just judges and magistrates, but all the players in the space of administration of justice to be trained by this academy. And it does not stop there. It also gives an opportunity for regional and international training, even of judges. So this bill gives an opportunity to enable us refocus the idea of training in terms of judges and those who support the judiciary in various ways. Madam Speaker, as we were considering this bill, we had submissions from various entities. We had submissions from the Office of the Attorney General, we heard from the Judicial Service Commission, we heard from the Kenya Judges and Magistrate Association, we heard from the Law Society of Kenya, we heard from Treasury, we heard from Legal Advice Center, among others. Of importance, Madam Speaker, is that all those who came before us started by supporting the bill. Whatever observations they made, they said, we support the bill. It is particularly important that any concerns that have been raised around the jurisdiction of the Judicial Service Commission was allayed by the Commission itself. Because the Commission told us that in their view, there is nothing in this bill that would usurp their jurisdiction. There is nothing in this bill that would bring friction between the Commission and the Academy. Madam Speaker, it is important to know that as we consider this, and I think our focus is clause number 4 and number 5, how does creating a body corporate relate to the Judicial Service Commission? Madam Speaker, we carefully navigated this point. And at the end of the day, both the committee and the Judicial Service Commission was satisfied that in the way it is crafted, there would be no usurpation of jurisdiction. The way it's crafted, Madam Speaker, first is clause 5. Everything the Academy does, if you look at chapter 6, it does on behalf of the Judicial Service Commission. To that extent, it is essentially an organ of the Commission, except that given the work of the Commission and the Judiciary, they found it necessary to find an organ that focuses just on training and not recruitment of judges, not discipline of judges, not hearing cases, and that's why they came up with this academy as a body corporate. If you look at the clauses, Madam Speaker, you will see that it is so carefully navigated that there's a board. But that board must be chaired by a judge of the Superior Court. And that judge must be already a member of the Judicial Service Commission. That is the second point of nexus. So that the chair of the board is actually only a member of JSC. So the board cannot run rogue. And all the others who are to be appointed to the board, as you will see, there's a role of the Judicial Service Commission. There's a DG, and that DG is also appointed by the Judicial Service Commission. And that DG must also be a judge of the Superior Court. And the same applies to the registrar. So that, Madam Speaker, if you look at clause number 4 and number 5 and the other sections of this bill, you will see that any fears in terms of usurpation of the Commission's role, in terms of friction, is well taken care of. Madam Speaker, it is important to note that there's supposed to be a linkage. This academy is supposed to link with others, and we have done this before. We in Parliament have a Center for Parliamentary Studies, which we are still nurturing. The prosecutions have theirs. The ESCC have theirs. So we are trying to have a linkage that will assist Kenyans in the administration of justice ultimately. Madam Speaker, lastly, on this point, I draw members' attention to clause number 13, and that is the only other point that we have yet again suggested some amendment. Initially, in terms of funding, it was supposed to be funded partly by funds from the Judicial Service Commission, partly from the Judiciary, and partly from the Judiciary Fund. The committee has proposed deletion of clause 13B and C so that it leaves it exclusively to funds allocated to the Judicial Service Commission. Part of the entire argument by the Judiciary is that it is important to have this as a body corporate, because that way, even in allocating funds, Parliament will have an eye to fund this entity. So far, training has been suffering because all the funds are directed at salaries, at hearing cases, and at such like. So, Madam Speaker, I believe that this bill, once we carry the proposed amendment by the committee, will be a good bill, and this academy will work in the way that is proposed. I so support, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Otiende.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I arise to support the Judiciary Academy Bill 2025. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the committee led by Sir Murungana, Sir George, for having done a good job, especially on this particular bill, that the bill seeks to establish the Judiciary Academy. The Judiciary Academy, Madam Speaker, is supposed to actually be the institution that is taking continuing education for magistrates, for judges, and for judicial staff. Madam Speaker, as we all know, that education is a lifelong process. And the judges that were in school far much earlier, maybe 20, 30 years ago, will actually need to have refresher courses. Will actually need to go through capacity building. Will also need to go through new courses on how to handle emerging issues. Madam Speaker, as you look at the society today, this bill tries to address a number of issues that are coming up. For example, the issues of the AI. How are we going to legislate and handle cases relating to AI? How are we going to look into issues that are very modern in our society today? Madam Speaker, the establishment of the Judiciary Academy is going to be very important, especially in improving the skills, the abilities, and information of the judicial staff, the judges from the Court of Appeal, the High Court, the Supreme Court, and then the support staff, the researchers, and the staff that are actually the IT staff, and more importantly, even the drafters. Madam Speaker, we need to know that judges actually do a lot of work for this country. And like yesterday, you saw they went through the whole day going through that particular judgment. Even in terms of handling very modern cases, especially on issues that have arisen in our societies. So this school will go a long way to assist them to be up to date on so many matters that are going to have in the society. Part 3 of the bill, especially clauses 13 to 15, provides for the financial provisions, including the sources of funds for the academy. In fact, this is actually going to assist in making sure that the Judiciary Academy is going to be stable financially, it is going to be accountable, and the financial year of the academy is also indicated. It also goes a long way in ensuring that the Judiciary Academy is going to have the annual estimates of the academy, of the year. Part 4 of the bill, or clauses 16 to 18, provides for the general provision, including the common seal of the academy. Madam Speaker, we all know that as an institution which is actually going to assist in educating or in actually capacity building the judges, the magistrates, and all the staff, it is very important that it has a common seal, which is actually a provision, which is a protection of the members of the board and also the staff of the academy from personal liability and the liability of the academy for damages. So in effect, Madam Speaker, this institution is very important. It is important in the sense that it will actually ensure that the judiciary has a school or an academy the way other institutions of government like the Parliamentary Staff Training College at Karen, which is actually doing good work for these members of parliament and the staff. We also have the staff training for the KRA and all other staffs in this country. And therefore, I arise to support, and more importantly, to say this is a good thing for this country and the Judicial Service Commission. I support. Thank you.
The Honorable Didi.